In the intricate web of legal proceedings, the Election Tribunal emerges as the stage for defining moments in our democracies. On the new Supreme Court reserves verdicts on Nasarawa, Kebbi, and Rivers states, and Supreme Court settled 8 governorship poll disputes last Friday. The All Progressives Congress APC in Nasarawa State has called on its members and supporters to refrain from any act that may lead to a breach of peace following the Supreme Court hearing over the last governorship poll in the state slated for January 16th. This follows a peace deal signed on Monday in Lafia by the leadership of both political parties in the presence of security agencies in the state. A statement by the APC spokesperson in the state, Otaru Douglas, on Monday evening urged members and supporters to employ civility in their conduct, maintain decorum, mutual respect, and avoid making utterances capable of inflaming passion. The Apex Court had fixed Tuesday, January 16th, to hear the appeal filed by the candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), David Ombugadu, against the Court of Appeal ruling which upheld the election of Abdullahi A. Sule during the last poll in the state. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, the Supreme Court reserved its judgments on appeals that are challenging the outcome of the last governorship elections in Nasarawa and Kebbi states. A 5-member panel of the Apex Court, led by Justice Kudirat Kekere Ekun, approved appeals from the 2 states for judgments after all the parties presented their cases and adopted their briefs of argument. Remember that the Abuja division of the Court of Appeal had on November 23rd reversed the tribunal judgment that sacked Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State. The appellate court held that the tribunal erred in law when it settled that Governor Sule of the All Progressives Congress APC did not win the majority of lawful votes cast in that very election. In the lead verdict that was delivered by Justice Ochechukwu Onuemnemam, the appellate court held that the record before it recognized that the tribunal depend on legally excluded evidence to declare the candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), David Ombugadu, as the valid winner of the governorship election that was held in the state on March 18th. According to the appellate court, the tribunal wrongly relied on the evidence of 8 of the witnesses that were produced by the PDP candidate, whose witness statements on oath were not front-loaded alongside the petition. It emphasized that under Section 285, subsection 5 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, Section 132, subsection 7 of the Electoral Act 2022, and paragraphs 4, subsection 5 and 6, and 14 and subsection 2 of the first schedule to the Electoral Act, every written statement on oath must be filed alongside the petition within the statutory allocated time. The appellate court struck out all the evidence and exhibits that were presented before the tribunal by 8 witnesses. It held that the evidence of the 12 remaining witnesses who testified for the PDP candidate was not adequate to sustain the judgment of the tribunal. More so, the appellate court held that the tribunal was in error when it removed a total of 1,868 votes that were credited to Governor Sule on the ground that overvoting happened in 4 polling units. It held that the tribunal was wrong in its decision since the petitioners did not provide the required documents needed to prove overvoting. It held that the tribunal acted wrongly when it recomputed votes and made the declaration that returned the PDP candidate as the winner of the election. Consequently, the court vacated the order of the tribunal that directed the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to withdraw the certificate of return that was issued to Governor Sule of the APC and issue a fresh one to Ombugadu of the PDP. Discontented with the judgment of the appellate court, the PDP and its candidate approached the Supreme Court to set it aside. Today, the appellants urged the Apex Court to restore the majority decision of the tribunal, which recognized them as valid winners of the gubernatorial poll. Meanwhile, in Kebbi State dispute, the PDP and its candidate Aminu Bande are urging the Supreme Court to nullify the November 24, 2023 judgment of the Court of Appeal in Abuja, which upheld the election of Governor Nasir Idris, who was affirmed the decision of the Kebbi State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal, which gave victory to Governor Idris. The appellate court had maintained that the PDP and its candidate failed to prove all the allegations they raised in their petition. The court emphasized that the allegation of forgery leveled against the deputy governor of the state, Abubakar Tafida, was not established as required by the law. It further held that the issue of non-compliance with the provisions of the Electoral Act in the conduct of the election could not stand since the appellants failed to show how it substantially affected the outcome of the poll. Remember that INEC declared the Kebbi state governorship election inconclusive owing to massive vote cancellations and overvoting in 20 of the 21 local government areas in the state. The commission later conducted a supplementary election on April 15th, at the end of which it declared the governor Idris of the APC polled 409,225 votes to beat Bande of the PDP, who got 360,940 votes. The PDP and its candidate approached the tribunal to challenge the result, not happy with the outcome of the election. However, Justice Ofem led the tribunal to dismiss the petition as lacking in merit. On Tuesday, the Supreme Court said it will communicate a judgment date to all the parties. The Supreme Court also has reserved judgment in the appeal filed by standard bearer of All Progressive Congress APC, Patrick Tonye Cole, against the victory of Governor Siminalayi Fubara in the March 18, 2023 gubernatorial contest in Rivers State. The case flowed from the appeal court's decision of November 28th, which dismissed Tonye Cole's appeal for lacking sufficient and convincing evidence. He is contending non-compliance with the Electoral Act and Fubara's continued signing of documents as Accountant General after his nomination as governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) as grounds for the appeal. However, a five-member panel headed by Justice Kudura Kekere Ekun yesterday reserved judgment in the appeal after all parties in the suit adopted their briefs of arguments. Now, last Friday, the Supreme Court laid to rest the disputes over the outcomes of the 2023 March governorship elections in 8 states. The states were Lagos, Kano, Zamfara, Ebonyi, Plateau, Abia, Cross River, and Bauchi states. The session, which began at the various election petitions tribunal in the various states, gave rise to decisions which aggrieved parties had appealed against at the Court of Appeal and subsequently at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is the third and final level of appeal on governorship elections. Because the Supreme Court's decision will determine if governors of the 2 states who had been sacked by the lower courts will remain in office after those very proceedings. Both the Kano State Governorship Elections Petitions Tribunal and the Court of Appeal in Abuja had sacked Governor Abba Yusuf of the New Nigeria People's Party (NNPP). The 2 courts declared Nasiru Gawuna of the All Progressives Congress (APC) Yusuf's most daunting opponent on the March 2023 governorship election as the genuinely elected governor of Kano State. For Caleb Mutfwang, governor of Plateau State, his election was affirmed by the Plateau State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal, but the Court of Appeal in Abuja, in its judgment delivered on 19th November 2023, upturned his victory, making him file an appeal at the Supreme Court to challenge the lower court's decision. However, the Supreme Court has declared Caleb Mutfwang as the duly elected governor of Plateau State. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court on Friday affirmed the election of Babajide Sanwo-Olu as the duly elected governor of Lagos State. Justice Garba Lawal, who read the lead judgment of the Apex Court, discharged the appeal filed by Badebo Rhodes Vivo of the Labour Party (LP). He held that the deputy governor of Lagos, Obafemi Hamzat, was duly qualified to contest the March 18, 2023 governorship election. Last Friday, the Supreme Court upheld the election of Francis Nwifuru as the governor of Obenyi State. Nwifuru contested and won the March 18, 2023 election on the platform of the All Progressives Congress (APC), but his victory was contested in court. Justice Tijani Abubakar, who read the lead judgment of the Apex Court, held that the appeal by Chukwuma Udi of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) is unmeritorious. Nigeria Supreme Court affirmed also the election of Basi Otu as the governor of Cross River State. In a ruling on Friday, the court dismissed the appeal filed by Professor Sandy Ono and his party, the People's Democratic Party (PDP), with which they sought to sack Governor Otu of the APC. In the lead judgment, Justice Helen Ogunwumiju held that the appellants failed to prove their case. Again, the Supreme Court on Friday affirmed the election of Bala Mohammed as the duly elected governor of Bauchi State. The Apex Court, in a lead judgment read by Justice Ibrahim Saulawa, dismissed the appeal by Sadiq Abubakar of the All Progressives Congress (APC) for lacking merit. The Supreme Court has affirmed Dauda Lawal of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) as the authentic governor of Zamfara State. According to reports, Lawal had approached the Apex Court after the Court of Appeal in November declared the governorship election in the state inconclusive and ordered supplementary election in some local government areas in the state. A former governor of the state, Bello Matawali, had challenged the victory of Lawal at the Court of Appeal. The Supreme Court on Friday also affirmed Alex Oti of the Labour Party (LP) as a duly elected governor of Abia State. This comes after the Apex Court earlier last Wednesday reserved judgment in the appeals filed by the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and the All Progressives Congress (APC) against the election of Alex Oti as Abia State Governor. Don't miss out our insightful discussion coming up next, where we will analyze and interpret the potential ramifications of the Supreme Court's reserve verdict on the state. Stay with us for a deeper understanding of the pivotal legal development.
It feels good to be on your screen tonight to bring you analysis as well as perspective on the Supreme Court's verdict that affirmed the governorship election of the governor of Plateau State, Kano, and Zamfara. Others were also affirmed, like Lagos, that of Cross River, as well as Bauchi State. That has since generated a lot of reaction, and tonight we're going to be giving you some in-depth perspective to these issues, not forgetting the reactions from some Nigerians out there. In the studio, I have Tony Jane Kali as well as Sambu Solomon. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Good evening.
You know, before the election, we were here on the choice to bring about the expectation, to bring to fore expectations of Nigerians on the election. The 2023 election was one that spurred a lot of people to say, I'm coming out to vote because I'm tired of the situation, I'm tired of the status quo, we need a change, and I want to start that change by actually going out there to get my voter's card, as well as ensuring that I turn out during the election and vote for the candidate of my choice. And we saw the large number of people going out to register, and INEC have come out to say, oh, there is actually an addition to the number of people that went to register and to obtain their voter's card. On the election day, it was supposed to be an election that is different from the rest because digital technology was introduced to it. There were a lot of expectations and assurance coming from INEC, and Nigerians that were hopeful and went out there to actually cast their votes. Even though, unfortunately, there were a lot of ups and downs during the election. People complained of the officials from INEC coming late. There are some polling units that we got reports how that some came in the evening, that even some of the voters had to just go out, just go back home, like giving up on the whole process. After the election, there were also issues of technicalities. Oh, some people's results were not uploaded. Some people were saying, oh, our own officers said they are going to upload it. That's even against the law that says at the polling unit, those results were actually going to be uploaded. Surprisingly, when the result was actually announced, a lot of people were not confident in the whole of the process. You said we are going to be able to view the result portal in real time, but we tried, we could not. A lot of issues about technicalities. Oh, INEC, you went against your words. But in all of these, it was more like, if you have any case against the result, go to court. It was like a cliche that there's just everywhere, go to court. And aggrieved parties actually tore the part of the court. And what was recommendable or applaudable in the whole of the 2023 election was how that opposition parties were peaceful in all of that, and seeing that even the candidates, from the presidential candidates to even the governorship candidates, were telling their followers, their supporters, to be peaceful in all of that. And they actually went to the court, and from the tribunal we saw people heading to the appeal court, from the appeal court to the Supreme Court. And some Nigerians, like, there's no hope, even though we saw people on the streets like protesting that the judiciary should do the needful and all of that. But some say, with all that has happened and with all that is happening, there's no hope, because it's like a case of he who pays the piper dictates the tune. So it's like they have lost confidence. But we still saw how that the opposition parties or the parties in power are saying, just remain calm. We are law-abiding, we'll head to the court. And it was on Friday that the verdict that came from the Supreme Court that overturned the judgment of the appellate court on the governorship election cases, especially in Plateau, Kano, and Zamfara states. You will recall that the appeal that was filed in especially these three states was one that the people felt, we actually came out and voted for our candidate, but it's looking like a case of technicalities over justice. Why will I vote and then you come out clearly that my candidate won the election, but you are bringing issues of technicalities? But surprisingly, following the judgments that came out from the Supreme Court, people were really jubilating, they were happy, and some people were even thanking the president. I don't know what ground. I was asking myself, is the president of the Supreme Court? But it just tells you how the system is, or how the system has been operating, looking at how people are taking, are giving certificate of return as against the will of the people. But generally, I would just like to get your reactions on the verdict of the Supreme Court.
Well, okay. First of all, I would say congratulations to the judiciary, first of all, for even daring those that feel they know it all, and they have people that they can brag with, you know, because we saw some videos that were flying. Some people are saying, let's meet at the court. We will know who they know, and they will know who we know. You know, by now, people like that, if the judiciary should, you know, apply all the necessary tools that they have, that person should not be like on the street now.
But the person you're talking about is a well-known lawmaker. They are talking about Gagdi, but he has come out to say that what he meant was not what the people perceived.
Yeah, but it's clear. It's clear. You can just, you know, politicians, they can only have a way to dodge whatever they said, you know, because put that aside. You know, I think I would say kudos to the judiciary for touring the path of the law. Because, you know, when you have politicians that already have it at the back of their mind, rather they are going to conquer simply because they are the ruling party, you will know that already before even the election or after the election, already they have already hit the polity. Yes, because I will categorically tell you that that statement alone made by that particular politician, you know, didn't really go well with some people. It created fear, it created anxiety, it created even suspicion and even
Some people say it was an indictment to judiciary.
to the
and I think
judiciary.
they have pulled themselves out.
You understand? So such statements coming from people like that, I think there should be a mechanism to check them even from the grassroots, because you can afford, you know, to have politicians that will just think they have it all, they have it their own way, because if you look at the whole thing, people don't even really go to present what they want to do. They are just looking for lapses so that they will lean on, so that at the end of the day they will present it as technicality. And that is what all this while, you know, since the return of democracy, we have been touring that part. And you know, some people have been cheated based on that. You will find some ruling that will just go based on technicality and there's nothing you can do. And then you are just left there. And that's why the people will say, the citizen will say, they don't even have hope in the judiciary. But thank God, you know, the hope is being renewed somehow.
I was going to say, Engineer Tony was actually at the, you were at the Situation Room during the election, and then more like you were at the field, because you actually gave us even a live update from where you were. But looking at the outcome of the election, the reactions of the people, and then the judgments that was passed from the appellate courts, like what do you make of that? Would you say that democracy have come to stay?
It has ignited hope in the minds of Nigerians, and believe me, in the next election in Nigeria, we are going to see much more people coming out to participate in the exercise, because the judiciary considered what is the people's mandate, what the people want, what is the desire of the people. Why did the people go out to spend that long time to make sure they elected the person that is their choice? I have been following the cases like they are, and now they have been battered every now and then. And I'm going to tell you something. This has made the political system stronger. It has made Nigerians to throw their hopes on the judiciary. And secondly, it is going to make politicians to be more serious, to do their homework well. Parties will wake up. Should there be lapses and there are loopholes in your system, you should wake up and check them. Because if you see, how can people come out and give you 500,000 votes and give me 300,000 votes, and I'm challenging you in court because you don't have maybe what it takes to become the candidate of that party, or you did not emerge as the candidate of that party judiciously. Because these were the things that were reigning all over in Nigeria, just because it was said that by the former president, President Muhammadu Buhari, when he was president, he said, these are the results presented by INEC. If you are not happy about the results, you have the courts to go to. And in the Constitution of Nigeria, when you go to the electoral laws or the acts, it does not say that you will return on any judgment or any ruling by the courts. So, if you look at the issues of the state houses of assembly, their issues were dealt with at state level, and you cannot take it up. Even though we are seeing
there are a lot of calls.
There are a lot of calls, and there are a lot of things stemming out from such judgments. I am not too sure, but I heard about a particular speaker who said he has only XYZ number of people in his state house of assembly. The rest of the people that the court gave them their mandate, the court gave another person a mandate faulting the previous result. So what are we saying? Is the Supreme Court applying different books of the law? Is the Court of Appeal applying different books of the law? Is the tribunal applying different books of the law? Because these are things we need to go back to. Why should we listen to court cases in different states and say our final hope is the Supreme Court? And Supreme Court is saying, look, court does not have powers on such jurisdictions. What we should do, what you should do as a party, is to go back to your party secretariat and deal with these issues. It's not the business of the court. But there are other courts that have taken it as their own business, made pronouncements against the wishes of the people. So I think this has welled hope in the minds of, in the hearts of Nigerians, including me. In fact, there is somebody I'm supporting personally. He did not win. He went to the Supreme Court. They did not give him. But I am happy that the Supreme Court did the right thing. It's the same with every Nigerian. When you start being happy that the Supreme Court did the right thing, Supreme Court will do much more in terms of judging what is right and what is wrong. You know, and everything, these amendments and all of this of the Constitution and the Electoral Act, I think is for the good. It's what is best for Nigerians. But you see, politicians will go back now to work towards 2027, knowing fully well that if you don't win this thing and you are there, Supreme Court will remove you. If you win it and they don't give you, Supreme Court will give it to you. We don't know what the case of Nasarawa State and Kebbi and Rivers will turn out to be. But we are extremely hopeful. We are extremely hopeful. You are talking about technicalities. People are talking about mandate. So which one should we consider the most? Technicality has no... As a common man in Nigeria, I don't have issues with technicality. I do not.
You know, personally,
I want to vote Solomon Sambo Sambe because he won and he campaigned. He came to my locality and told me what he's going to do. On that premise, I voted him. I am an illiterate. What do I know about technicality?
And that's what makes the case of Plateau more interesting, because lawmakers at the National Assembly and also at the State House of Assembly have been affected as we speak. And then, you know, based on the electoral law, their cases stop at the appeal court. And right now, the Supreme Court, the same case that brought them out is the same case that the Supreme Court is ruling and is saying you don't have any business in it. When you go back to the appeals that have been filed at the Supreme Court, for Lagos, it turned on the cases of indigenship. And then Kano, it was on the issue of invalidation of ballots. And then Zamfara, it turned on inconclusive election. For Plateau, on structure and disobedience to High Court order, according to the appeal. And for Alex OTE, it was on alleged decamping from APC to LP. And Cross River, alleged non-qualification of governor on account of him not attending secondary school. And this was the person that was one time senator. And when you go to Bauchi, turn on section 73, subsection 2 of the auditory of election material. But like I said, more interesting is the case of Plateau State, because the lawmakers have been affected. And a lot of people are asking questions. So what is the fate of these lawmakers as we speak? Because going by the law, it says that for Supreme Court, they can only look at cases that has to do with governorship and then the president. But any others just end at the appeal court. And that's why people are saying, okay, if this thing was hinged on the issue of structure, and then the Supreme Court is ruling that. And that was why I said it actually brought out like crisis of confidence on the appellate court. In fact, people have been dragging the president of the appeal court, because after all the judgment, people are saying like, why are you applying the law differently? But obviously, Honorable Justice Monica Chest, the decision of the appeal court, if you even recall for that of Plateau State, before the sitting, people were questioning that why would it be one panel that will hear all, because it's supposed to be different panels, so that if these people are getting it wrong, this will call your attention to it. But we have in the case of Plateau State just a panel that oversee all the sitting and all the appeal, and that generated a lot of reaction. Now earlier on, I was talking about justice over technicalities. The people, I'm just worried now that the Supreme Court has already ruled out on that case of structure. Now, what's the fate of some lawyers are saying that, oh, there's nothing that can be done. We have to just accept the fate of what has happened based on the law. It's either you recall people that have been given certificate of return when they don't do well, or you wait till 4 years' time before you vote out. And I was just wondering, if it was a country where there's integrity, the people that have been issued even that certificate of return will say, no, I would not take this. Maybe we should do another by-election or something, because apparently the Supreme Court, which is the apex court, have already ruled on that case. I think I was conversing with someone, I was like, how would you want to go and stand, and how would you want to address the people that did not vote you? Because there are messages out there from people saying, oh, I'm member-elect, I'm this elect. But were you elected in the true sense of the word? You get, and that's why we're talking about Nigeria's democracy and going through this appeal court verdict. Why should we, I'm even wondering why the appeal court, there are certain appeals that shouldn't even be, like you rightly said, shouldn't even get to even the appeal court. It should even end at the party level. But when we don't have punishment, or when you don't have, when there's nothing attached to it, people will keep taking unnecessary issues down to court, like making issues of governance instead of focusing on governance. Like we've had cases that where, oh, our judges are overwhelmed with issues. What are the issues? Are there issues that are supposed to get to that level in the true sense of it? Most of these issues are not.
Joyce, you need to understand that people make business out of everything. And the more something is elongated, the more people make fruitful ventures out of it. You see, a case that is not okay, look at the case of Plateau. Are we supposed to go to the Supreme Court with that? If we did it the right way, why did the tribunal say that the governor of Plateau State is the rightful governor of the state? That was why I said in my opening remark that I asked, is the Supreme Court studying, did they study a different law? Do they have different books? Do they read different laws? It's the same thing. It's just hierarchical powers that shifts. You get to this level, you get to this till you become a justice. So when you get to that level, you deal with issues at that level. But even though there are facets of the law, I understand, I'm not a lawyer, but there are levels to the law that certain people with certain knowledge cannot deal with this until you gravitate to that level. But look at it this way. The common sense in law should tell you that if this person, why wouldn't we have the same judgment pass in all the courts?
You know, people have alleged inducement. Some people have alleged even ignorance, because a justice that is just a step to the Supreme Court, like look at the level that you have reached, and yet you are even a lower court, like we're able to interpret the law based on what is actually expected. But now at the appeal court, the judgment is now like different, contrary to what is actually, because when you see the judgment that was passed by the Supreme Court, like everything was clearly written.
You were talking about punishments earlier, and I think that if you waste the time of the court, you should be fined. If you report or file a case against someone wrongly, the court should fine you. There are people that steal mandate, right? Haven't we seen people in Nigeria that the Supreme Court will take the mandate from you and give the other person? Is that not a punishable offense? It is. You stole the mandate. You should go to jail. And the same thing with reporting the rightful winners. I think the people who report rightful winners, when the Supreme Court finally passes the judgment, I think that it should be consequential as well.
Even the justices that are even involved in the cases should not just be allowed to go, because, like I said, scot-free. Some people are alleging inducement and some are alleging ignorance. But how can you get to that level and then claim ignorance of the law? Like, if we're serious about improving our system, and when I mean system, like I mean everything from the election, INEC to the judiciary, then I think we'll not be rigmaroling with issues that shouldn't get to this level. Now it's months after election, and yet we are still talking about going to court. In fact, for some people, it might even, we've seen cases where it lasts over a year or years before it like coming to a conclusion. Now, who at the end of the day is at the receiving end? The citizens. Because people are just concentrating, or will we get this mandate, will we not get this mandate? The citizens are living in fear. Or will our mandate be stolen? Will it be actually reserved? And all of that. If people at that level talking about justices will not uphold the truth and what is obtainable, I think their progression should be delayed. And when that is done, it will serve as a deterrent to other people that will tour that part as well. Because you cannot chest such judgment or verdict, and then at the Supreme Court, it's been said that no, you went the wrong path. Like, and then you go scot-free. From the election and all the reactions we've been getting from even the public, like you see that a lot of people have pointed to INEC, and we've also seen that. But have you heard in any way anybody taking responsibility or INEC being punished for anything? No way. But when people are allowed to go scot-free with some of these things, you keep having repetition of it. A lot of reputation. Now we're talking about the case of, for example, Kano State. After the election, clearly Abba Yusuf won the election. But later on, with the issue of invalidation, some of the ballot papers were not stamped and all of that, and thereby reducing the votes and then declaring somebody that even congratulated him.
All of these things should die out in Nigeria. You see, the more the justice or the judicial system pays less attention to such things, they will die out naturally. But when you glorify such eventualities, they will grow. And right now, like I said earlier, I will still repeat myself. 2027, people will be more serious in their affairs politically to make sure that every T is crossed and every I is dotted. If not, this is, they say, what is enough for the wise? A word is enough for the wise. This, with what the Supreme Court have done, we are happy and we have hope in the judicial system. We are just anticipating how the cases of Nasarawa, Kebbi and Rivers will turn out to be.
You see, George, you talked about how the judgment is being passed, like from the appeal. You have the tribunal to appeal to Supreme Court, to some, like the governors, up to Supreme Court, but House of Assembly, National House of Assembly and State House of Assembly in at appeal court. But you see, this thing is key, the issue of integrity. If you hear how they handle the issue of Plateau State, the judgment, you know, in some point, the judge said that the appeal court assume. Are you to assume? Because I'm just my head was just I'm just asking as layman as I am, you know.
Are we assuming in court?
Would you assume?
Are lawyers assuming
in court at the detriment of what? You understand? And you can hear that, you know, a judge saying that to another judge, which is just a step to meeting that particular job at the higher level of the seat of judicial power. If you put it that way, you understand? Because even some of them that made the judgment at the appeal court, one of them is appointed. Is appointed the Supreme Court. So if you are talking integrity, before you get to appeal court, they must check your record. That means you have done well. And they promote you to that level. And at that level, we can afford at this time, you know, to be seeing such kind of judgment that a same judge in the higher court will make such a statement that will make you look as if you don't even go to the law school.
You know, the thing is that a lot of times we sweep a lot of issues under the carpet. Let me, for example, our lawmakers, it was cars or jeeps of 165 millions that sometimes I just wonder what if it is about the people or if it's actually about self. It was recently that they were talking about how the jeep of 165 million is going to be distributed to every member of the National Assembly. I was worried in a time when Nigerians are faced with hardship. It was a member, a husband to Justice Bokachua, that on the floor of the Senate was talking about how that his colleagues come to him to plead with his wife to help. Till today, nobody has been arrested. Yes. This was a public statement. And this is not the first time we're seeing judgments that are being passed. I'm talking about making reference to the appeal court judgments,
Yes.
like contrary to what is expected, and people go scot-free with that. And that is why people will still go out. You're talking about people that were nominated, like to go to the Supreme Court, even though they are not sworn in yet. But on what grounds? Do we check people antecedents and pedigrees? Or is it based on loyalty and a political affiliation? That is why Nigerians before now lost interest in even the judiciary. We're saying, like, let's just, like, all hope are lost. I'm just happy, and that's why I'm applauding the judiciary for this verdict, because it reinstates confidence in the people, like Engineer Tony rightly said. Now, come 2027, even Edo election, which is going to take place in November, people are going to go all out to vote, because they know that even if at the tribunal we don't get it, or at the appeal court, like the
will
case
get
of
it at the Supreme
Kano,
Court,
the Supreme Court will actually do the needful. And that was what I was saying, that should we even get to the point where we have to thank the president for not interfering, it means something is even wrong
No,
with the system in the first place.
You see, Joyce, you know, talking about getting it right, you know, 2027, we're hoping, like you rightly said, some of these things, definitely they will die out, because people now will begin to see that, yes, I can manipulate my way, but it will stop at the Supreme Court. You understand? Even the judges, by now I know, some of them will sit up. Some of them that are towing the path of, okay, let me just get anything and pronounce anything, and I will have my way. Some people will start thinking, can we just be patriotic in this country?
Should we even get to the point
Look
that
at
it's
it.
the court that is deciding?
Okay. Now, the issue of Plateau State, the lawmakers, is quite unfortunate, because their issue now is dicey. Is dicey. Yes, there is a way. And I believe now the lawyers are putting their heads together to see how they will remedy the situation. Because this thing, if it goes this way, is a daylight robbery. Yes, if it goes like this.
I'm
On the
actually
mandate.
thinking on behalf of Justice Modika. Like, do you know what it means to pass a verdict against the truth at the detriment of how many people? We're not just talking about just the members that are affected, the voters that came out and gave them their own mandate.
We are not talking about the candidates now. No. They are just how many? If you can count with your teeth. But we are talking about the chunk number of votes that people went out to cast. That's what we are talking. Legit.
And that was what I said earlier on.
Okay.
If it was a country of integrity, those people that were giving certificate of return that, oh, PDP didn't have structure, so you are the one to take, that were recently, will say no. Supreme Court has ruled. We can't take this.
I think,
But
I think that is what a speaker said. I've not read the statement. I've heard that a speaker said, as far as he's concerned, the people that won elections and they were given the certificate of return are the members that he has at the House of Assembly. 9 of them.
Well, he can't make that decision because, you know...
No, he's saying that he cannot swear them in because there is a contradictory verdict. So he cannot swear. He is a lawmaker.
The highest court of the law.
Unless the court reverse that.
No, he's saying that they should also go to court with his decision.
That is it.
So who is going to challenge that case in court? Because that is his stance. Because he has come out to make a press statement that he is not, I have not read it. Someone, I think, who has that judgment read it. He said, as far as I'm concerned, as a speaker of my state, and the Supreme Court judgment has turned out to be this way, you are the one that is good with calling people's name. I am not going to call them because I am not. I did not read. I did not read the statement that was issued, but he said to me, the guy said, the speaker of that state said that as far as he's concerned, he has only 9 members of the House of Assembly. He's not going to honor any certificate of return of these people because on the same grounds they are qualified. On the same ground, somebody was disqualified. Now, a most senior court in the federation said that this is not right. This is the rightful owner of the seat.
My point
so
now
his point is because you can't go back on the judicial, what the judiciary has said. He is saying, I will not swear you in as members of my House of House of Assembly. What I am saying is, I will not do it. You go to court and challenge it.
But you know, my point is this. The House does not permit the Speaker to just operate with just 6 members. We are supposed to have representatives from all the constituency. Like, so the court has ruled out that, see, they have given certificate of return to the other members from other parties outside. Yes, okay. Members outside.
Did you read that?
People's Democratic Party.
Did you read that the statement issued by the Speaker?
Yes.
Oh, you've read it?
Yes.
Okay.
So you see, now the Speaker cannot work with just 6 members.
I thought there were 9.
He can't work with them. So there must be representatives from all the constituencies.
But you see,
and if the appeal court,
the Speaker knows where he's going to. It's either the Supreme Court intervenes, but he said he's not doing it because the Supreme Court has given a judgment that contradicts the earlier judgment passed.
He made a statement.
Oh, you also know the Speaker.
Based on that, right? Based on that,
we all know the Speaker.
Based on that, the people that are affected now we run to court to challenge his stand.
That is the point. That's what he said. They should go to court.
That is it. Because now we are saying, okay, definitely there must be a remedy, and he feel he shouldn't do otherwise. In his own side, because he's a lawmaker. And that the reason why I say it's quite unfortunate. But I think this is the time that from all of these loopholes, like the opposition would sit down and bring their heads together and say this is the time to work. Because I am happy that this thing is happening to lawmakers. Yes, because they are being elected to go and make laws. That will strengthen institutions that such kind of nonsense, will not be happening. You understand? So now is a challenge to them, to whoever scale through, that is happy sitting down, at least his seat is secure. Then you should know that another election is coming. You can be affected. So what are you supposed to do? Put your heads together and work this amendment.
You see,
right now.
This issue of politics, one party fighting against the other, I wish they can channel their fights as to challenging other parties. My party has done 600-kilometer road. My party has dug boreholes. My party has, education, health. My party has done. What has your party done? Instead of fighting one another, let's fight our systems. Let's fight our systems. Instead of individuals fighting individuals, fight your system, fight your policies. Fight your policies, fight your system. So that if your system, you are going to be enshrined within your system. If your system says that as XYZ party, because I'm not good with calling names, as you are, Joyce, XYZ party, if you become a governor under our party, you must make sure that within your first 4 years, you would have done 600-kilometer road within your state. If not, as a party, we will not give you mandate to come back the second term. Why not? We want you to build, there are this number of schools. We want new schools. And we want all the schools in the state renovated within your first tenure. If you cannot do that, we will not give you the mandate to go out. These are the things that are expected. And if you do that as a party, nobody in Nigeria will want to vote a different party other than yours.
It's true. And you see, amending the law, that will even help to curtail all of this. Because if the law says, in case you are being robbed, no matter the level of your position, whether you are coming from the House of Assembly or National House of State House of Assembly, National House of Assembly, or governor, you can run to Supreme Court to give you back what has been stolen from you. If the law creates that window, that means these members that we are talking about now that we are affected, they wouldn't have been in this confusion. Like, where do we go? What is the remedy?
In a case where there's miscarriage of law, because in the spirit of justice and fairness, something should be done. You know, the spokesperson of PDP spoke about how that they are going to approach the NJC, but a lot of people have come out to talk how that the NJC are also constrained because they don't have the power to review or reverse such
They
judgment.
can only punish.
You see, that was why I was talking
They can
about.
only punish.
That was why earlier on I was saying, if the appellate court, in its miscarriage of justice, passed a wrong verdict, and people have been affected based on the verdict of the Supreme Court right now, in the spirit of fairness, should the people, I'm just even worried how that a system that should give you justice is the one that is denying you of justice, because that's the clear case you
It's
see
quite
with
unfortunate.
what happened at
It's
the
quite
appeal court.
unfortunate.
Now, in the spirit of justice, I think that the Supreme Court should be able to say that, yes, there's a loophole here, and we are coming in this way. Right now, for the PDP to
That
meet with
is
the people, how
based on the issue of technicalities, that you say there is no structure, and it's based on that you have been given mandate
There are people
to
who don't care about how their people are going to see them. These people care about the allowances that comes to you as member House of Rep or member House of Assembly or governor or senator. They don't care. These people have been away from their people. If you have been with the people, why did they not vote you? If you have been kind to them, why did they not vote you? If you have been a good leader, why did they not vote you? You see, people rate you based on what you have done with your personal money. And then they know that when you get that money high on top there, you are coming back to remember them. What are the people asking for? They are not asking you for much. Drive whatever car you want to drive. They are not asking you, they don't want to drive that Jeep. That's not what they want. What they want is, during the farming season, how do we get fertilizer? That is how the ordinary Nigerian is thinking. How do we get fertilizer? How do we get pest infection control? How do we get... They don't even care about roads as much as you and I do. Because where are they going to? They are just asking. When you make when you do what makes their lives better, this issue of road will take care of itself. We that will be bothered about the roads, we are the ones that buy this food stuff, buy all of these things that are farmed in the villages to come back to town. But what I am much more concerned about is the case of Nasarawa State. You know, I am very concerned about the case of Nasarawa State. And I think everybody is anticipating how it will turn out to be. We thought that the Supreme Court would announce to us a date, but I think they said they are going to communicate to the parties and all that. Well, if it's communicated to the parties, we will get to hear, because the party has a publicity unit, and we will get to hear. But whatever it is, we are asking that due justice be served. We are not saying Supreme Court favor this person or favor this person. No, give the person that won the election. That is just what we are asking for.
There are actually a lot of reaction, and I would like us to just quickly take some very few tweets that some Nigerians have actually, following the judgments, come out to actually say about the judgment. I think we should take that now. We have one from Senator Shehu Sani, and it's on X. He said, in today's ruling, that's last Friday, the Supreme Court has taken the side of justice by upholding the mandates of the people. It is recoupling and resettling itself. The survival of our democracy is dependent on credible elections and rule of law, reinforced by an independent judiciary. That's from Senator Shehu Sani. And we also have one that said, I expect the PDP in Plateau to make a case against the appeal court judges that upturned the victory of its members in the last election, to see how those judges' progression will be delayed so they can learn better and get more seasoned before they are considered for more responsibility in the hierarchy of our court. That's from Abiodun Owonikoko-san, legal practitioner. And I think we also have a very long one from...
This is a lengthy one from...
Atiku Abubakar,
yeah.
presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the 2023 presidential election. He said the Supreme Court's decisions represent a significant victory for the people of Bauchi, Plateau, Akwa Ibom, and Zamfara State, and is undeniably a triumph for constitutional democracy. I extend my congratulations to Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf of Kano State of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, on his commendable legal victory. This moment also provides an excellent opportunity to restate my commitment to the idea that a unified opposition is crucial for strengthening democracy in Nigeria. I'm more ready than ever to lead this endeavor, working alongside our esteemed leaders and governors for the betterment of our nation. The Supreme Court's ruling ensures the continuation of the high standards of governance that the People's Democratic Party has established in the state. That's from Atiku Abubakar, presidential candidate of the PDP in the 2023 election.
What I said, you know, it should open our eyes, particularly the gladiators, you know, those that are out there, the politicians, you understand, you know, come together. How can you make these things work? Because the better we have our laws made by the lawmakers, the better, you know, the earlier, oh yes, the earlier we get it right from even our lawmakers, the better for us. But we need a strong opposition that we challenge some of these things that are not right. Because if you look at the issue of judiciary, yes, we will say some people are being, they don't care. They can throw the issue of their integrity without them thinking twice. They don't care. You know, after all, their families are doing well. Some of them are not even staying here. So you'll find that it's just only them that are here. So even if they will say, well, at least they are well. But this is what I want to say. If you look at the judgment of the tribunal of Plateau State, it's just that you will know that they are credible people that are out there to serve this country. Because the Supreme Court just affirmed what they did. Without alteration. They just affirmed. That means it should have ended. And you save people from spending unnecessary, you know, you save people from unnecessary spending. So can we tour that part?
Well, I am optimistic that we will, because everybody has hope in the judicial system, and I don't think anybody is willing to drag that that heightened hopes from Nigerians and even from the judiciary. I don't think anybody is trying to drag us down back, you know.
I think it's very important. Our time is actually fast spent, but I think the needful should be done, especially in improving and strengthening our system so that we don't keep rigmaroling, because like I said, elections we keep coming in and out of season, but the needful must be done. There are a lot of celebration in like the 8 states and expectations in Nasarawa, Kebbi, and Rivers State. But for the 8 states that the verdict has been passed at the Supreme Court, it's now time for governance. I know for some of the governors, they are already into it, but more effort should be put in terms of governance, because 2027 is just by the corner, and people will not say, oh, because we voted you and then you did not do well, you will continue, we'll still give you. No, Nigerians, I think they are more aware than ever. So it should be about governance and delivering dividends of democracy.
Just you see Kano, quickly, Kano and Plateau and other states, you should know that the mandate is for the people. Seeing that, I weep for those at the helm of affairs. If anything goes wrong, that you tore the other part.
Well, we are happy that right now is celebration and not...
Yes, what I'm saying...
Our time is actually fast, man. I have to cut you, Sapo Solomon.
It's okay, it's okay.
Our time is actually fast.
I just pray they will do the right thing.
Thank you so much. Great analysis. Thank you so much. Democracy is the theory that the common people know what they want and deserve to get it good and hard. Until we come your way tomorrow, you have a great night. Bye.
As well